We're live right now.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. We always do cold starts. I never do like, hey, welcome to Fargo Talks. I just don't do that either. We just start talking and that's it. I learned that from Clint Eastwood.
Oh, what movie?
As a director.
Oh, as a director.
He used to be on a Rawhide was the name of it was a black and white Western TV show he used to be on. And the actor, the director would yell, action, really loud, and it would startle the horses. So when Clint started directing movies, very quietly, he goes, whenever you're ready.
Oh, that's cool.
Or he'd say, begin. And so many actors love working with Clint Eastwood because he was an actor for so long and still is. But that's how he directs, is he is a actor's director. And so I kind of stole that from Clint Eastwood, is to say, let's just start. And also Joe Rogan does the same thing.
Oh, okay.
And I love Rogan.
Listen to Joe. I love him, but I don't ever listen to him.
Yeah, I'm a big Rogan fan. Do you listen to podcasts at all?
No, I don't listen to any podcasts.
Listen
For
to music?
years.
Music?
Yes.
And that's it? Well, you're good. No, you're fine. And thank you for listening to mine. It's, it is what it is. It's fun. The people I've had on are from all over the place in terms of real estate and interior design and now title and escrow. And it's like, all right, how do you make title and escrow interesting? Is there been a way to, how long have you been doing it for?
Over 30 years.
So in 30 years, how do you make title and escrow exciting to talk about?
I guess just telling stories of things that have happened through escrow. I mean, we've had one time I was in a signing and the lady was making out with her dog and the realtor and I were like, do you need a room?
Excuse me?
Yeah. No, it was, yeah. The realtor's still in business, so if he hears this, he's going to laugh because it's funny.
Were they like tongue, like full, like French?
Yeah. Like the dog was
Was
licking
it a French bulldog because they were French kissing?
No, I think it was a Chihuahua. It was a little dog, but it was funny. And then I guess the dog had his own room, had clothes, had shoes. It was just really weird because we talk about, that happened probably 10, 15 years ago. And every time I see that realtor, we always talk about it.
And now if that Chihuahua and person are still together, that's like a common law marriage because it's been 10 years.
Well, the dog can identify as a human now.
Oh my good hell. All right, what else?
Just, I guess, and I like escrows that have challenges. Like I have one right now that has like 23 IRS tax liens.
Oh, what?
So that's a lot of work. IRS tax liens.
23 IRS tax liens on one property?
Mm-hmm.
Single family residential?
Yep, with a single family, yeah.
Single family home.
Mm-hmm. So, and the hard part is it's going to take a while because the IRS is not easy to get payoff demands on.
No.
So, shocker there, huh?
That's bananas.
So, but I like those types of transactions, something that gives me something to do.
What are some other crazy I love these stories. Keep going, please.
We can have payoffs on the wrong files or payoffs not showing up at all. That's common.
Describe what a payoff is to someone that doesn't know what that is.
So a payoff is the mortgage against the property. So if you borrow money from, let's say, ABC Mortgage, they'll put a lien on the property. So that way, if the property's sold, they can make sure that they get paid off. So I've had them not be filed where the seller's like, hey, why are you giving me an extra $100,000? So not because we want to. So yeah, that takes work because we have to figure out what was wrong. Was it the wrong APN number, wrong legal description? What happened on that? Or did it never get recorded?
What are some of the most common challenges you see on a file?
Probably just communication, people not communicating. I can say when we get loan documents, if the sales price is different and we never receive the addendum, I don't understand how escrow is the last one to receive addendums. That happens a lot where we're missing addendums, or we'll receive addendum number 5 and we only had 1, so we're missing 2, 3, and 4. And just, I think communication is the challenging part, is if you're not communicating, then it's hard to have this escrow grow smoothly.
Is this new agents? Is this agents that have been around for 100 years?
I think agents just get busy, and I think sometimes they assume that the other agent was going to send it to me. Because I get that a lot when I'm like, hey, can I get this addendum? Oh, I thought they were going to send it. Sometimes I just get it from the lender. Like, I'll email the lender like, hey, I'm working on your file and I just got addendum 6 and I'm missing 3 of them. Do you have them? Or the lender will reach out to me and they're looking for addendums that we don't have.
Okay. So in a former life, I had a division level job at another title company. And so that was my first experience of really knowing what an escrow officer does. And how, I say this analogy all the time, how your job is literally every day the first 10 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. That's your job. And I have such great respect for you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And for what you do, because, oh my God, like you are hurting kittens every day because you have the seller's agent.
Puppies.
You are coordinating things with the seller's agent, the seller, the buyer's agent, the buyer, the lender, right?
Correct.
And then all the liens, all the payoffs, so all the municipalities or utility companies you're dealing with, and you are spinning plates every single day on multiple files.
Correct.
Right? How do you do all that on a day-to-day basis and not be a raging alcoholic? And if you are a raging alcoholic, we can get you help.
Oh, well, thank you. No, I'm not a raging alcoholic.
Okay, good.
Not yet.
Good. All right.
So every day I go through every single file. And the ones that have problems, I keep off to the side and they never leave my desk. They just sit there until I get what's needed. And basically, like I said, I just communicate. I'll send an email to whatever party's involved every other day. Do you have a status of what's going on? Or if we're waiting for payoffs to come in, I calendar that to make sure that I don't forget about it. So I give it usually like 10 business days to wait for a payoff to come in. And then if it doesn't come in, I follow up on it.
Of everything you do, what percentage is systematized by like a CRM, whatever, or how much is it is just your big old beautiful brain doing it?
Probably 50-50. I just like to keep stuff off to the side. It's hard to let go. I know we have everything systematized and we let people, I let others do stuff for me, but I'm a control person. So I like to make sure that it gets done. So I'll like put the file off to the side, and then as soon as it's done, then I'll move it over to another stack and then come back to it later. But,
does that help you?
Yeah, it does. So, and I'm really good about logging files. So for some reason, I'm out of the office like I am right now. Whoever goes in my file can see the notes to see where I'm at. So that way they can try to help the consumer.
Which is the number one thing is we're just trying to help the buyer and seller.
Exactly.
Get the transaction done. Like we all have the same goal in mind. When you are facing hurdles on a file and it's a newer agent, what are some of the things that you'd recommend a new agent has to know to overcome, challenges? Like if it's my first deal and I'm with Jeff Fargo Realty and here I am, boy, I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and here's my file, Trace. What are the things I need to know?
I would say if you are the listing agent in your first file, like as a listing, is to get a hold of the title company and have them run the lien report so that way we can see what's against the property. And then for a selling agent, the best thing is to make sure you read your prelim. So I can tell you if you do transactions with me and the prelim's ugly, I will call the listing agent first, let them know what's going on. And then I'll call the buyer's agent to let them know what's going on. And then I'll send it out to all parties.
What's a prelim?
A preliminary title report is basically the title policy that's issued against the owner of record. So it shows all the easements, taxes, HOAs, any liens of record. We also run the seller's name to make sure there's no liens against their name. And we also run buyers. So it's basically just a report that's preliminary that lets you know what's on the property and what we need to work for.
So, hey, agents, earn your commission and read the preliminary title report, read the prelim.
Correct.
Because then that's going to let you be aware of any fires that need to get put out.
Correct.
Ahead of time and that won't delay closing.
And if you don't, correct. And if you don't understand the preliminary title report, then contact your escrow officer. Say, hey, what's this? And we'll explain it to you. And if not, we'll find the answer for you.
And also, full disclosure, like I love and adore you, but I really wanted to do this because I wanted agents in Las Vegas, Henderson, Summerlin, wherever, here in Southern Nevada, to say, hey, this is what you should know from a seasoned escrow officer.
Correct.
Use us, don't use us, but at the very, it's saying Fidelity National Title, but these are the things you need to know when you're like read the prelim. Mm-hmm. Like you got to know the prelim.
Exactly.
Don't expect to have everything. Don't assume. Don't
assume.
Right.
And I do teach classes. So if you ever want me to teach a class at your office, just let us know.
You teach great classes.
But that's a good class to teach because I have ugly prelims in there that shows everybody what we need to do to get it fixed.
What about, like, do you still see challenges from seasoned agents that have been around 5, 10, 15 years? And do you still see, like, is there stuff that they could be doing to make the escrow process, in your eyes, seamless, easier?
Again, communication is the key. If you're the listing agent, make sure you have like the seller's information. If they hold title in a trust, you make sure to let them know that title's going to get a hold of you because they need certain documents to make sure that we can continue with the transaction. Buyer's agent, we just need to make sure that we have everybody's information, lender's information. Because a lot of times when we open up escrow, the lender wants fees within, 5 minutes of opening. And it would be nice to have, like, if there's a transaction fee or any of that type of information when they open up escrow. So that way we can shoot fees over and not have to track down parties. Also, home warranties. Order your home warranty. Those always come in like when we're closing escrow. I'm like, we need them in the beginning if possible. And I know buyers want to choose what company, but definitely have home warranties in before we get into documents.
Why?
Because if the seller agrees to pay $500 and let's say the home warranty comes in at $700, then I need to get $200 from the buyer. So
everything has to equal, right?
Exactly.
At the very end, that's all I know, is that all your stuff at the very end, those two columns have to equal.
Correct.
Right? If not, then we're in trouble.
Correct.
Not we, but somebody's in trouble.
Don't want it to be me.
Well, I mean, you're putting out fires, but also, and you've done a ton of transactions in your lifetime. You wouldn't be here if most of them are probably good, But what about like the old days when like say like when the crash happened here? What like 07, 08? What were you doing back then?
Taking a lot of complaint calls because that was the REO world. And we were so busy with REOs that basically we would work and get a lot of complaints because a lot of people were upset that their house was being taken away. So they were calling us because they thought we were the bad guys.
And what's an REO for someone that doesn't know what that is?
That is a bank-owned property. So like ABC Mortgage forecloses on the property, then we're dealing with them or the trustee in order to close the transaction.
And they're coming at you thinking that you're the one that's foreclosing on them, or really you're a third-party intermediary just trying to get the transaction.
Exactly.
Closed to whomever, to the bank.
Exactly. Giving the money to the bank.
Right?
Correct.
Those were bad times. Well, not bad times, but those were dark times.
Those were dark times, but we learned a lot.
Really?
Yeah, like my kids know what blue tape means now when we drive past a house, which no kid should know that. I didn't even know that until REO days.
What's blue tape?
The blue tape is when they tape the foreclosure notice on the property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not good.
So that's not good.
I had someone ask me today, and I answered it as best I could, but they said there's a house, they're an investor, and they're looking at this one house is going to be condemned. And I said, I think that the municipality gives them time to remedy whatever it is. And I think it's just been vacant. So homeless people have gone in there and torn the place up. Do you know what that is? Like what the time is when something gets condemned?
No, but I actually had a transaction where we sold it to an investor buyer. And then the buyer came like a week later and said, hey, my house was torn down. So I wasn't sure if we had missed any notices, but the city forgot to file a notice that they were going to demolish the house. So the buyer, I felt bad because it said all their tools and everything was in the house, but they had to go after the city. So that was an interesting escrow. It was just interesting to have the consumer came back and say, where did my house go? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's gone. Like demolished.
I wonder how that was remedied. City road check.
What? They never came back. I asked them to come back to let me know what happened, but title ran the property. We didn't miss anything. And title told them they had to go through the city because the city should have recorded.
So you're absolved. You're fine. What is the funniest transaction in 30 plus years? Like what's the one that makes you laugh the most?
I don't think any of the transactions make me laugh the most. I think the part that I get the most satisfaction is on first-time home buyers and when people are excited. Like when I call people to wire their earnest money and they're so excited, it just makes me excited because I like to deal with happy people and I like to make buyers happy. And the end goal is everybody's happy by the end of the transaction. But just first-time home buyers, I just love it because they're so excited to get in their house, so excited to make their first payment. They're just excited to be a homeowner.
First-time home buyers have to be the best client to work with.
Yeah, they're easy.
Because they don't know anything, right? But also their feelings are so genuine. Mm-hmm. It's brand new for them. It's their first home.
Exactly. It is exciting, especially when they have little kids that are in there and they're like, what color are you going to paint your room? And yeah, so I love meeting customers and talking to them about their house that they're going to be moving into.
How many times have you been in a transaction when a realtor was so upset with everything going on that they just started crying?
Not too often.
No tears?
I mean, no. Maybe back in the day, I'm trying to think, but I can't recall of an agent coming in the office crying. I think the only time that I've had an agent ever upset is like if the seller didn't release their earnest money deposit and they were just upset that their buyer wasn't going to get the money back. But no,
that's it.
I can't think of a realtor ever crying.
I would just think that I would see like realtors in tears sometimes.
No,
but just because if something went sideways or whatever, it's just But I guess no. At the time they come to see you when they're signing, we're good.
Yeah, everything's good.
Everything's fine. At least it should be fine.
We
right?
hope so.
Talk to me more about communication. What is it that you think it is holding agents back or inhibiting them?
A lot of people don't like to pick up the phone. So we're leaving voicemails. I'm not the best at texting. I'm trying to get better at texting, but I'm a phone person because it's easier to communicate with me, I guess, on the phone because text messages, sometimes they don't come across how they're supposed to be said. And so it just makes it easier. And a lot of times when there's problems, it takes too long to text it or even email it. It's just easier to call and have a 2-minute conversation instead of like a 15-minute typing up an email to make sure I got the wording right or even a text message. So I like to talk on the phone. Like I said, I am getting better at texting. I have a few agents that I text a lot with. So I'd say in the last year, my texting has improved. In email, I'm big on email, but I like to call first and then follow up with the email if need be. But most of the time we just email because I know a lot of agents are busy. They're showing houses or taking listings and they can't pick up the phone.
I call it email tennis. You just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I can't stand it. Like that and the reply alls. Just literally, that's why I have a therapist. Is because of stuff like that. I was like, I don't need to be on this. I love all of you. Or just the back and forth stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that's bananas to me. What do you think could be or should be systematized better, like automated? That's not automated. Anything that you could think of?
I guess I don't know how the agents, when they send out like an addendums, but how like they send stuff through DocuSign, it goes out to all parties. If they could just like a CC the lender and title on it. It's just making sure that the information gets to us.
And that's it.
That's about it, yeah.
But that's like one of the biggest things that also I know like holds things up and isn't happening. Mm-hmm. There's that one. And this isn't everybody, but like lenders will throw title under the bus sometimes when a deal is going sideways or getting hair on it, where it's like, no, this isn't. There's an EO I worked with at another company, and she was so good at. And you're the same way. Is when the lender would come up with that and send that off to the agent and or their client. The EO goes, no, actually, here's all the emails that we've been waiting for your signature, waiting for your docs for the past 13 days or, whatever.
Yeah, that does happen, but I don't like to throw anybody under the bus. So
no.
I just basically give the facts. And most of the people that I work with know how well we do communicate. Usually when they hear something like that, they'll call me and be like, are you sure? And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So
do you see a level of professionalism going up, going down, or staying the same in the business?
I think it's going up. I really do. Or I'm just starting to work with people that are very professional, like the end game. We just want the consumer to be happy.
I think it's going up.
That's my ultimate goal is the consumer is happy. Buyer and seller are completely 100% happy.
Agreed. I think it's going up. I think that we are seeing because of technology, because you can now Google everything and you can look stuff up with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, and you can be looking things up in Bard, that if you're not at the top of your game, earning your commission or earning your fees, earning your bips, if you're a lender, you're not going to be in business very long.
Exactly.
Right? I just think that we're all held to a higher standard now. Mm-hmm. I've been in title and escrow for 9 years. And when I first started, I was laughing because my competition was a bunch of very attractive women bringing donuts or cupcakes to a realtor's office for their sales meeting. The end.
To the heart.
The end.
Yeah.
That was it. And it's like, here is a bunch of nothing bundt cake buntlets. And because I'm giving you these, can you please entrust me and my company in the biggest, most stressful financial transaction someone's ever going to undertake, buying or selling a home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. What?
Exactly.
And so you have to offer more than that. I mean, there's how many escrow officers in town? A bunch.
Mm-hmm.
How many reps? A bunch. And you have to set yourself apart in order to, have that relationship with agents. What do you do?
I always tell everybody that returning calls is the biggest thing, or even returning emails. I don't know how many times I'll hear, I'll get agents that have an escrow somewhere else. And I'm like, it's been 2 days and I haven't heard from my escrow officer. What would you do? And I usually tell them, send me the prelim and they'll tell you what needs to be done. So return calls.
So your big thing is just responsiveness of returning calls, returning emails.
Well, customer service.
Yeah.
Overall, that's part of customer service. The returning of the phone calls, returning of the emails. And even if I can't get back to you right away, I'll usually say, hey, give me like an hour or so and I'll get back.
But also like you have your own personal time. Like what if it's a Saturday at 11 o'clock at night and you're doing something on your own personal time? Then what happens?
If I see it and I'm sober, I can respond.
Sometimes it's better if you're not sober. Trust me.
Oh, is it?
Trust me. Oh, it's much better.
Usually 11 o'clock at night, I'm sleeping, so I wouldn't see it till the morning. But yes, I do. I'll get back to you if I can.
Good for you.
There are times when I'm in Utah and I just don't have service.
So then what happens?
I get back with you and I see you on Monday.
And that's it. And they have to deal with it.
So unfortunately, if I have no service, I can't help you.
Well, I think that a big thing with agents, it's setting expectations with them, right? And it's letting them know, hey, I have property in Utah. And just so you know, I'm going to be gone this weekend. I'm going to be out of cell phone service. But if something comes up, I'll get right back to you first thing Monday morning. And hey, guess what? The banks are closed on Sundays and a half day on Saturday. The clerk's office, all the municipalities are closed over the weekend. Nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
Long play this. The goal is you want to get paid and you want to get your people taken care of by the closing date stated in the contract.
Exactly. Right? And I get the buyers and sellers, they might be blowing up their phone and I'm the one that has the answer. So I get that. And if I can, I definitely will answer.
But to me, it is a catch-22 for what you do, because you get some agents that are just fucking prima donnas, right? And they're used to 24/7. You don't have a life because you work for me. You're everything for me, which is not you, which I love that about you, because you set expectations with all of your clients. I love, love, love that. But it gives me, I get disappointed in those people because I'm like, no, the escrow officer is part of your team. And you go on vacation as well. And if you don't go on vacation and turn it off, you're going to burn out and you'll be done in this business. This is a marathon career, not a sprint.
Exactly.
And there's some days the marathon, it's raining and it's, 5 degrees and it's awful. Then other days it's sunny and wonderful and you feel like you can run 1,000 miles, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the fun part about what you do and what I do is 99.9% of the time, it's fun. It's fun working with people and it's their living. You're helping them. I love it when I'll see clients of mine, like their kids are going off to college. Or they help, buy one of their kids a car or help contribute to their car or whatever. And I know that in a very small way, like we helped them do that. That's one of the most rewarding things at it being in title and escrow that you can do is you are a shepherd to a real estate agent's success.
I agree. And most of the agents I work with, we are a team. And that's what makes it so much easier. And that's why our transactions are smooth.
Agents love you.
I don't like escrow heart attacks.
Oh, escrow heart attacks.
Yeah.
And it's the funny part is that it's not you, but there's EOs that we know that are out there that should have retired 10 years ago, but they don't for one reason or another. And they're having escrow heart attacks almost every single day.
Yeah. It's not fun.
No.
I like my sleep.
Yeah. I'm so good at sleeping. I'm 53. I'm a Division I napper. I could nap anytime, anywhere. as long as it's cold, like 68, 69 degrees, I'm good.
You're good.
Oh, God. I love it, love it, love it, love it. That and gummies at night, I'm done. I'm done. Happy as could be. What about like international stuff, like FIRPTA, stuff like that? Do you do a lot of those deals?
Every once in a while, we get FIRPTA. So we do have a account. Like we ask that our sellers pick a company that specializes in FIRPTA and foreign sellers, and that way they can prepare all the paperwork for the IRS. We actually don't prepare it. So just so everyone knows, what's FIRPTA? It is the Foreign Investor Tax Property Investment, or Tax Act. Tax Act. Oh my God, delete that. And so it is a foreign seller. The IRS requires either 10 to 15% of the proceeds if it's $300,000 or more, if the seller does not file taxes in the United States.
So it's someone that owns a home, say here in Las Vegas, but they're not a citizen of the United States.
Correct.
Okay.
And so we will hold the proceeds and we ship it off to the IRS immediately at closing. But we do require, or the IRS, I should say, requires information from the seller and information on the buyer.
And in what countries have you done business with, like with those people?
Well, I've done a few in China. I have one right now in Germany. And I've done probably quite a few across the pond.
UK, United Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico?
I'm sure I've done them over the years. I can't recall of any offhand. But most of them are in the United Kingdom, UK.
And let's get back to let's go back to the U.S. for a second. What are most of the deals that you do?
I mainly just do residential and a few refis here and there. Most of my refis that I get are from a buyer or a seller. Okay. Because they create a great relationship with both of them.
That's awesome. So most of your stuff is, we call it resi resale. It's residential real estate. It's not new build. This is people that the home's already been built. Somebody lived in it maybe several times over, and then that's being sold.
Yes, so residential resale.
Right.
And what'd you call that again?
Resi resale.
Oh, okay. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, resi resale. Yeah, you can have it.
Never heard that.
Never?
No.
Really? Oh, honey, yeah. Resi resale.
I need to get out more.
Hey, whatever. No judgment. Utah's wonderful. It's okay. You go ahead.
I'm sure they have them there too.
I guarantee you I did several deals in Utah back in the day. Absolutely they do. St. George.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Mormon Palm Springs.
Yep.
If you're Mormon and you play golf, you move to St. George, Utah.
Okay.
That's it. It's pretty and red and very Mormon. The end.
The end.
But that's what you get when you go to St. George. When your clientele now, what is it that your diehards that love you, the agents, if I was to call up 10 of them, what's like the same thing they'd all be saying about you?
They get their paychecks right away. And I know that's a big deal because I get a lot of people like, wow, I wasn't expecting to get paid today. So if I can close by 1 o'clock or get confirmation from the counter recorder by 1 o'clock, I try to get everybody's wires out before 2 so that way they get paid. So that's probably one of the biggest things I get from the realtors is they weren't expecting their money the same day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, it all comes down. We're all working. We all love what we do, but we all need a paycheck.
What's the usual amount of time that elapses for an agent to get paid if you're paying the same day?
With most of them that went wires, we have to have everything in by about 1:30 for the wire to be processed the same day through the Federal Reserve. Otherwise, if it's a paper check, it goes in the next run. But usually within 24 business hours, everybody's paid.
That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Right.
And then I don't know how long it takes their office to process it. Some of them require, like I deal with agents that need a copy of their check and or wire by 10 a.m. in order to get processed. So I make sure to get their closing packages emailed to them electronically so that way they can forward it off to their accounting department so they can start the process.
What's the percentage of TCs versus non-TCs, transaction coordinators that you work with?
Right now, I'd probably say 50-50.
Really?
I have a lot of agents that don't have coordinators at all. And then I have agents that have coordinators, and then they still do all the responding. They don't even have the coordinators respond.
That's hysterical, really?
Usually the coordinator will make sure I get my addendums and the signing commission instructions and home warranty. But other than that, it's usually the realtor that always responds.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Is with the TCs, do you ever see it where this agent doesn't need a TC?
Yeah, there are some agents that don't, and there are some agents that definitely definitely need one.
Do you ever recommend that to them and go, hey, you might want to get a TC to help you with this, so just help your time?
No, because I don't know if I would offend them by saying that.
Oh, that's a good point. All right. See, in sales, we don't give a shit.
See, I know. That's why I couldn't do your job.
Well, I wouldn't, yeah.
I couldn't do your job at all.
Honey bunny, there's most days I can't do my job. I'll be honest with you.
Well, you do a great job pulling it off.
Thank you. I'm 53, and now I just pick and choose who I spend my time with.
I'm coming up on you.
I don't. Oh, please.
I'll be 53 in July.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. Catching up.
You're getting there, and trust me. But it's fun. I love it. But I know that I'm on the back 9 of my life. I think I'm on hole 10. But I'm also at the point now where I'm not just going to walk into offices and go, "Hey, how you doing? Can I get your business?" No. By now it's like, "Hey, I hope I've earned the right that you know who I am, or Fidelity National Title and the tools we have, and how can we help you out? Or here's what I recommend to help you out." Mm-hmm. And that's it.
And I agree. We're here to earn. And even though I might have an agent that has used me like 20 or 30 times, I still need to earn their business every single time. I can't take them for granted.
I've learned that. I learned that the hard way a few times of agents and brokers. I thought that they were going to come with me whenever I moved, and they're like, "Nope, dude, we're staying where we are. We love the escrow officer." Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay." And at first I was bummed, but I'm like, "Nope, great way to learn," because I need to do a better job as their rep to retain them. It is a team thing. It's the hardest thing for you, and at least for me it is that you work so hard to get the business from an agent. Mm-hmm. And they've worked so hard to get that business to represent the buyer or the seller. And you give it, this has never happened with you, full disclosure. You give it to an escrow officer, and I mean, no one bats 1,000. We all know that, but the deal blows up. And then that agent comes back to me and says, "Jeff, I love you, but I'm never going to use blah, blah title again because you blew up the deal." I'm like, oh. I'm lucky that, knock on wood, it doesn't happen that much. But when it does, that's the one thing that guts me.
Well, and that's why I believe in communication, because I know I'm not perfect in any ways, but if there's something that's wrong or isn't right, I'll pick up the phone and call you and be like, "Hey, Jeff, you referred me to this agent and I'm having these issues. What do you suggest me to do?" And that way I've communicated with you. So you're not getting the phone call and be like, "Hey, your escrow officer just called me and told me this, 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 and this." So I try to communicate with everybody. Which
is huge. And I think that's what you bring to the table very well, is you're open and you talk to everybody. Because when in doubt, disclose. Mm-hmm. I learned that when I did my first real estate class in Canandaigua, New York in 1994. And it was like, what? And the guy said it, when in doubt, disclose everything. Mm-hmm. And I never forgot that. And that's something you do very well. What are some of the hardest, most challenging conversations you've had to have?
I would say some of the hardest, like when I make a mistake, and I do.
What happens? We all do.
Is finding the solution, but just calling. It's always tough to call somebody. I hate having to come back and ask for money from a buyer. That I won't sleep. Even if I call the buyer that day and it's like $30, it drives me nuts. I don't like coming back at all, especially if I'm the one that made the mistake. But even if for some reason, like I told you, like the home warranty didn't come in and we're short and I need $200, I still, because you don't want to blame the realtor. Well, I only asked for it like 30 times and it didn't come in. But I just hate asking for money. I hate that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like that.
That drives you crazy.
Yeah, because I expect my product to be perfect and go out right the first time, not having to come back and ask a buyer for money. Or even if I close escrow and let's say I overpaid the seller, knock on wood, that's happened a few times and I've had to ask for money back because you feel like you're an inch big.
In 30 years, it's going to happen a few times.
It is, and that's how you learn. And as long as you don't make the same mistake twice.
Well, you give yourself some grace, and also, you don't make the same mistake twice. That you just go,
that's the hardest part, is asking for money.
I love where agents will fire me for doing something wrong or an escrow officer for doing something wrong and go somewhere else, but no one is perfect.
Correct.
It's only a matter of time until that escrow officer at the other company or that title rep that they're working with is going to make a mistake. They're going to fire them too. And the thing is, like, I know brokers and agents like that. That's just at the whim. There's no loyalty. And there is loyalty with some, but not with a lot of them, with what we do now. And that's been a big shift that I've seen in my time in the business, that people that you thought, will like, come to me. If I'm not doing my job, come to me. And out, that's it. Okay. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And so it just is what it is, right?
And usually, like, the marketing reps or the sales executives will come to me, like, if one of my clients moves somewhere else. Because I always like to know, too, like, what did I do in order for them to move on? Because I can't learn if I don't know. And I hope my agents tell me. I have a lot of agents that have been with me 20 years.
It's awesome. Well, it's the only way you're going to get better. If I have somebody, if I'm your rep on a deal, and if the agent's like, I can't stand Tracy, she has bad breath, her makeup is terrible, she's an oily T-zone, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, okay.
I'll do my best. Breath mint. Hold on, let me get a towel. Wipe the oil off my face.
I would come back, and go, Trace, and shut the door and go, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. And this is why Fern Flanagan wants to move on to somebody else.
So here's some gum.
So here's some gum, and here's a moist towelette, and here you go, and off you go. But that's how, in any relationship, personal or business, you go through this and you go through this. And it's the only way that you evolve and grow.
Exactly.
You've got to tell me how I screwed up, or you have to tell me how I didn't meet your expectations.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's nice to know expectations up front. When I get a new agent, I hope they tell me, because I tell them this is how I work. And if you're okay with it, and if not, let me know. And there's a lot of things that realtors have said, hey, can you do it this way? And because I like the way that they presented it to me, and it's very helpful, I actually do that in all my files. Like, I implement that into my daily procedures. So
if I'm a new agent coming to you and I want to know how you work, what would you say?
I would say that I'm very big on email, very big on phone calls, and that I will normally only pick up the phone to call you if there's a problem, but you can call me at any time.
And most problems you put the fire out before they even know.
I try to have a solution, because if I can't think of a solution, we have plenty of escrow officers, and I have great management that I can run it by them, and they can be like, oh yeah, I've heard this happening. Try this. And it helps out. So it's nice working with people that you've been with for 30 years. Because if I haven't seen it, they've seen it.
The amount of talent that Fidelity National Title has here in Las Vegas is staggering to me. It's like the 1999 Yankees. It's like this murderer's row of stacked players that are so good and so collaborative that you can text almost any of them and go, hey, I have this going on. What's this mean? And bam, they come back with an answer. Thank you.
Exactly. And most of our people have been here forever. Like, I've been here 24 years, and I'm not like one of the older employees, age-wise, talking work-wise.
Tenure, my friends, tenure. You are a tenured escrow officer with Fidelity National Title. What are some of the other things that agents need to know that you think that here's like, 101, 102, 201, here's the stuff that for you to get your deal just done easily in the world of title and escrow?
Again, I guess that comes back to communication. Just making sure that, like, if your seller's out of state, don't wait to the last minute when we're supposed to close the escrow and be like, oh, by the way, they're on vacation. Just communicate. Something that you might not think that's important could be important through the transaction.
When in doubt, tell you.
Exactly. Or even if the realtor is going to go out of town. I've had agents go out of town, and I'll be texting, calling, emailing, and no response, not knowing. And then they'll come back and be like, oh yeah, I was on vacation. Doesn't someone cover your desk, or I need help?
Dude,
so
that's the thing is, and again, it's hard because you're only as good as the shittiest person involved in the transaction. It's that simple. I've been saying that for years. And you can talk to these people and you could tell them, go, hey, and you come from a place of grace and knowledge and evolution. And you just want to help them out. But sometimes they're just like, you know what, I don't give a rip. This is how I'm going to do my business and that's it. And yeah, they're on vacation. I forgot to tell you, figure it out.
In escrow, always say you're as good as your last deal.
Well, that's sales. You know, in sales, like we'll always say you're only as good as your last month. And that's it. We all start at zero. First of the month, man, we all start at zero. And what are you doing with us? It's funny because it's the sales cycle is what you open up this month is going to close the following month. So, and it usually takes 1 to 2 to 3 months in sales to get someone to earn the right to have them send you one deal. One deal sometimes. And sometimes it's closer. It's shorter. I'm lucky with all this stuff I'm doing. I have agents, knock on wood, that will call me and go, hey, want to use you. You know, what do I do?
See, and that's why, like we were talking earlier about like lien reports or even investigating the property. Because if someone's passed away and you don't tell us, it could be a probate. And it would be nice to know, or a power of attorney. Anything that you can give us up front to let us know, because that way we can work on it. Our power of attorney, our underwriting, you know, we have guidelines that we have to follow. And sometimes it can take a week to get all the answers that we need to get it approved. And if we're at the last minute, deal's got to close tomorrow, you know, we're making everybody stop what they're doing to try to get everything ready to go so we can close. Yeah.
I'm involved in probate now because my mom passed away with no trust. Oh. It's a nightmare. I was doing work on it today. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I deal with a few attorneys and I do a lot of probates. I deal with a lot of the dead. They're easy to comply with though.
Because they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they listen to me.
They listen to you very well.
They do what I say.
Hello. I have told more people since my mom passed away February 28th. I'm like, make sure you have a trust. A will is nice, but a will doesn't do a lot for you. If you have assets, you have to have a trust in place that there is specific like actions to be followed legally upon my demise. And my mom did not have that. And it's been 3 months and still. And I filed everything with the attorney there in Florida 2 weeks ago. And they said, yeah, it could be up to 3 more months until you see a dime.
Well, yeah, you're getting court dates. I mean, everything has to go through the court and they have to notice everybody and that takes time.
It's 3 months they have to notice everybody is 3 months. They do it. I'm like, 3 months? Well, we put the newspaper. Who reads the fucking newspaper anymore?
Believe it or not, people do. I don't, but people do.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, the newspaper, it's gone down to like 1 square of toilet paper, I think, is now the RJ. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm lucky that it's in Florida, which it's God's waiting room, you know, a lot like here. And so it's just, they've been expediting a lot of this stuff, but the probate, it's my first time like knee deep in it. It's hellacious.
But look how much you're going to learn. And with this knowledge that you're going to get, you're going to be able to help agents
a ton
locally.
I've learned so much that I've told agents I work with, if you ever want to have like a class, bring in a probate attorney if you want to, really bring me in. And I'll tell you exactly what agents should be telling people who, you know, have older, you know, their parents are, you know, have a house here in Vegas, or if they represent seniors. To make sure that, hey, you know, do you have all this stuff in place? Because if not, you're scrambling. You're absolutely scrambling for stuff. Like I moved my mom out here from Florida and she passed away 13 days later and went through like finding a place for her out here to stay. And the whole thing is, I didn't know any of it and taught myself a lot of it. I went on Facebook and crowdsourced it.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. I said, hey, looking for recommendations in Henderson for a nice senior living facility. And then people, and whatever got 2 or 3 people said the same one, that's when I looked into. And spent about a week of making phone calls and did all that. Yep, Sunrise of Henderson over on Horizon Ridge. They're great.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're fantastic. Those people there are amazing. Talk about an immediate ticket to heaven. You work in that industry. Technology's come a long ways. Technology's come a crap ton. And to me, it's being prepared is just as important as communicating. Like what you're talking about, it's having those preparations. If you have a home, you should have a trust. And you should talk to a probate attorney. Make sure you talk to someone that's an estate attorney and make sure all that stuff is done. It's all done. My ex and I still have the same. It's JTG, Jack the Ginger. estate is still, a trust is still there. Haven't changed it since the divorce. Nothing changes. We're good. Knock on wood. We're okay. But until you go through it, and you're like, this all could have been done like within a month or two, and now I'm on the third month with at least 2 to 3 more months before it's done. Oh my God.
Well, it's hard to get closure.
That's the biggest thing. It's just, I just want it done. I just want it done. Like the house was in escrow. It fell out. Now it's back in escrow again. And the probate attorney didn't do something right. So we had to do an addendum. And I'm just like, my real estate agent in Spring Hill, Florida, she loves me. Because I go, hey, I work for Fidelity National Title. I've been in real estate for 30 years. I'm just going to do whatever you say. You're making your commission. So she loves me. She's like, can I have you as a client all the time? And the title, the escrow officer I talked to today, I forget the title company, there's some small title company in Spring Hill, but she's like, I love you. I go, I'm just, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it.
Exactly.
You know, the water got turned off, so I have to go through Hernando County and fill stuff out and send in the death certificate and the proof that I'm the PR personal representative of the estate and send all that in, but there's nowhere to attach it. So I got to, I'm just emailing them now blindly saying help. But there's so much that goes on with that stuff you don't know until you're in it.
Well, even like with agents, like buyer's agents that are writing contracts on a probate or even a bankruptcy property, I don't think they realize that whatever name is on the contract, that contract is submitted to the court. So you can't add or take names away without having to go through the courts again. So it's always good that even if you're the selling agent buying a probate house, check with your escrow officer so that way they can give you little bits of information. So that way like if you're going to add the wife, you need to do it now.
Yeah.
Not do it later, because once that order comes in, we have to follow the order, and whatever name is on the order is who we close with.
Do you do a lot of probate deals?
I do.
Do you really? Bless your heart. Is it attorneys you're working with or realtors that just specialize in probate?
Actually, I would say 50-50. I have 2 agents that do a lot of probates, and then I have a few attorneys that will have the agents come to me with the escrows, because I know how to handle. Yeah. Good
for you. I mean, it doesn't matter to me about, if I can ever help with that, let me know. Like to educate, not the attorneys are good, but the agents. It's like, hey, here's all the hell I went through with my mom. Yeah. Like I still have this one Google Doc that's now I'm up like 10 pages, I think, because I started taking notes in September when I first fly out there when she got bad. And then it was almost every other weekend I'm flying out there.
Yeah, because it's always nice, crazy. Like on the, excuse me, like when the court orders are done, a lot of times it's nice to be forewarned. So my attorney will be like, hey, the order should be ready in about a week. So he'll send me the proposed order, or she'll send me the proposed order. But that way we can get HOA demands ordered, update payoffs, update trash and sewer. Because a lot of times when you open up escrow, all that stuff's ordered except for the HOA demand, and it just sits. And so it could take, like you said, 30, 60, 90 days to get your final order. And once we get that, everybody wants to close, within 5 minutes. And it's like, wait, I got to get updated trash, sewer, and order payoffs. So you mentioned HOA demands. Let's talk about that for a second. Because this will get you excited. Because I didn't know that. Do you order those for the agent or no? Or is it they have to ask for that to be done? Well, that's what I like about Fidelity working here is we're all our own. So I have certain agents that I order the HOA resale package for and the demand automatically. We always order the HOA demands, but when it comes to the resale packages, I'll ask. So if I get a listing agent that I don't work with, I'll email them. I'll first research the property because I do this the same day of opening. I'll research the property, find out who the HOA is with, and then I'll email them saying, hey, I only see one HOA. Would you like us to order the HOA resale package? And then most of the time they'll get back with me and say yes. So we have an awesome HOA department here at Fidelity that takes care of that for us. That's a biggie, and I didn't know that. Oh, I love our HOA department. The HOA thing is a biggie with agents, and to get that order, the resale thing, I'm like, okay. I mean, there's one agent that we worked together, and the escrow officer didn't order it in time. And she was furious and was like, I'll never you guys, she's like, I love you, but never you guys, I'm okay, don't use us, whatever, sorry. I mean, stuff happens. Yeah, it's hard. That's why, I have a list of agents that I know that I automatically order. And sometimes I just want to automatically order them because I don't want anybody to ever get mad. But then you'll get times where like, I already ordered that. So like I said, if it's a listed agent that I don't work with, I always run it through them. But I do a lot of relocations. So I have relocation companies, and I prefer to order the HOA resale package because the owner of record is not ultimately our seller. So there's a lot of questions that need to be done. So, and our HOA department knows how to order that for me. So I'll just say, hey, this is a relocation file, and they'll take care of it for me.
Bravo. And get it done. And we've like 10 minutes left.
Okay.
My gosh, can you believe it? It goes fast. It does go fast.
It's fun.
Are you having fun?
I am.
Are you good?
I'm nervous, but I'm having fun.
Why? You're good.
Oh, well, I'm getting tongue twisted a little bit.
You're great. No, please.
I'm human.
Here's the thing. When we end up taking these videos, and if it's a 20 or 30-second clip of you saying something, and if you flub your words a little bit, you are more human to your audience that way. Mm-hmm. No one's perfect.
No, I know
I
that.
screw up. I've been doing this now. This is probably my 25th one of these things. And I screw up every single time. There's something I say that's wrong, or I stammer, stutter my words. That's just me. And I'm okay with that.
That's why we love you.
Well, thanks. I
see, Jeff's helping me become technology friendly.
I'm doing my best, man.
He got me an Instagram page.
I did.
Finally.
You have your own Instagram page. I love that about you. I love that.
I haven't done Facebook yet.
Don't, if you don't want, master Instagram first.
Well, you know what? I think the reason why I don't want a lot of technology is when I go to like my grandkids' events, everybody's on their phone the whole time. And I don't want to be, I want to enjoy life.
Amen.
So,
Joe Rogan, he lives in Austin, Texas, and he bought this old like performing arts center building, like an opera house. And he's redone, it's called the Mothership. And it's a comedy place. Right? And they have a standing policy there. When you go, you have to put your phone into a bag. So there's no cell phones.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Well, this is what I do when I take my kids out to dinner. Cell phones go in the center of the table, and whoever grabs their phone has to buy dinner.
That's awesome.
And you know what? They've never bought me dinner yet.
They're either smart or, well, no, that's just smart. They just know. They know that Gummy's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think that nowadays, phones are great, but also they can be, I'm guilty of it too. I love doing this because I either have my phone off and it's under the table, or I put it outside in the reception area. And because my focus is talking with you, and that's it. And that's that. But that's a policy I'm going to start doing here, is to say, hey, turn your phone off or leave it out there, because you're not going to be doing anything when you're talking to me.
Exactly.
Like, this is it, man. But it's the same thing like if going to like your grandkids athletic event, you want to watch that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember when my son played football, I would just sit there and watch all the parents. They weren't even watching what their kid was doing.
All I see is phones. Mm-hmm. My daughter, she graduated. The awards ceremony was last week from Thurman White, she's 8th grade. And she did, knock on wood, did great with like all these academic awards. And I did some videos that I'm going to actually post this week, but I was very cognizant of putting my phone down and just watching her.
Well, recording videos is one thing. Like, you can look at their phone and they're like just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. They're not paying attention to the world around them.
There's plays I've gone to that my daughter was in that the parent has the freaking phone up the entire time. The entire play. It's you're not going to watch the entire fucking thing.
I agree.
Stop. Just stop it. Do a quick little clip when you know your kid's going to be singing or is on stage.
Take a few pictures.
Take a few pictures and go, that's great. And then move on.
No, I agree.
Right? Like, I see that often at sporting events or whatever. I'm like, come on. There has to be a balance to where you want to capture that moment for later on, but then also you want to be in the moment.
Exactly. I agree.
Right? And if you're there and you're just going to capture the moment on your phone and not really take in what is going on, I think you're doing yourself a great disservice, especially as a parent. Mm-hmm. You're actually, I think you're a shitty parent if you film everything or you're on your phone capturing everything that your kid is doing instead of actually enjoying and absorbing what your child's involved with and sharing that joy that they're experiencing as well.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Come on. So, all right, to wrap up, who are some of the agents in town that you just adore, that you love, and that when you see them, you see their emails or they're texting you or they're calling you, your face just lights up?
Am I allowed to say names?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to say names.
Of course you
Because if
are.
I forget somebody, oh.
Honey, you're human. It's okay.
I know, but
this is not done out of malice or anything like that.
I like everybody I work with.
Stop. You don't like everybody.
I'm trying to
You're
be
so full of shit. You're so full of shit.
Oh, geez. Well, I know one of my oldest agents, Richard Emanuel, he's the one with the making out with the dog.
Awesome. Let's just say, full disclosure, he wasn't making out with the dog.
Wasn't making out with
it was
dog.
a client.
He's the one that made it funny.
That's great.
So, yeah, because he's the one that told the customer, "Would you like us to leave the room?" And it was like,
yes.
Yeah. So I've worked with him for a long time, and he's always funny. I have agents that are funny like you. So they're the ones that when they call in or even email, I like those people.
Those are the people that help like get you through the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's always good to make me laugh.
You know?
And sometimes when I get emails and I literally laugh out loud, I'll tell the realtors like, oh my gosh, you don't understand. Like you got me laughing, like really laughing.
I love that.
Because it doesn't happen that often.
There's something that I've seen other escrow officers do. I don't know if you do this or not, but they will just call during the transaction. Let's call and go, hey, it's Jeff with Fidelity. Just checking to see how am I doing?
You know what? You referred that to me and I did it a few times and I actually got a deal out of it. And you know what? It went in my brain and out. So I'm going to have to go back and remember to do that.
Keep doing that.
I had to really do, when you first came and we started doing the B-sides, remember the first call I made? You're like, say this. And I've never cold called in my life. That was the first time. And it was a lot of fun. And when you left, I told everybody.
We have to get back to doing that, actually. We both should be doing that because it's fun and it works.
It is fun. But you took me out of my comfort zone and you had me do something I never did before. And so now when I go to realtors' offices and I'm sitting there and they actually talk to the newer agents about cold calling, I actually understand and I can feel their pain.
The thing is, I love that. I love cold calling. I've told my kids, I'm like, you get into sales, you can get into 100% commission business as long as you're good with talking to people and you can deal with rejection. Okay, don't take it personally. You can make a ton of money, a shit ton of money.
And that's just part of escrow. You can't take it personally.
No.
You really can't.
No.
I don't let stuff bother me. Even if a realtor gets upset with me, if it's my fault or not my fault, I don't let that bother me. I don't let the transaction, because ultimately the buyer and seller are they're my principal. They're the consumer.
Whenever someone is coming at you from a point of anger, they are waging an internal war that you want nothing to do with.
Exactly.
Nothing. And you wish them harmony and peace and that their heart is softened and that they have the rest of their day is okay. That's how I always look at it. If somebody unleashes on, it's rare, but if somebody unleashes on me, I just listen and say, okay, are you better now? I go, what's my job? My job's to get you paid.
Exactly.
My job's to get you paid.
And it doesn't happen that often, but every once in a while.
No, I'd say like that's gotten better. The level of professionalism has gone up a lot.
I agree. And we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. I think the level of professionalism in real estate in Las Vegas has gone up a lot. So credit to the brokers, the team leads, technology to train these people to say, hey, not this, but this is how you do things.
And I feel that we are teaching a lot of classes now to help educate them where we're not running into these problems. And kudos to the brokers for allowing us to do that. Because before they wouldn't even let us in. It was like, we'll teach a class to one or two people, like a private session, instead of a class to all the agents.
For everybody. Oh my gosh, parting words, my dear. What are some things that we didn't talk about that you want people to know, you want real estate agents to know, or that you want that they should take away, from this or from you?
My takeaway would be, I'm here to make you look good. I want everybody in the transaction to be happy. It actually bothers me if somebody's not happy or felt like the service wasn't there. And so please, please, please tell me if I do something wrong so I can learn. Don't fire me because I didn't do something you didn't like. But basically, I just want everybody to be happy in the transaction. I feel like I'm easygoing. Doesn't take a lot to get me upset through work. And we're a team. We're here to work together.
I agree. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
You're awesome.